yesterday when the news dropped, I was outside. It was finally 70 degrees here in Connecticut.
Day. Yes.
I was relaxing. I was having a great day. And then I heard it, and my phone started blowing up from 4 or 5 Chicago friends. So I'm curious what your friend says, and then I'll tell you what the hell I think about the whole situation.
My friend, I just asked him, like, why wouldn't the Bears trade for Sam? And he said because their front office is extremely, all caps, incompetent. They'd rather go with Dalton over Darnold. They sealed their own fate with that move. He said they've been selling to the fans that they believe in Dalton, and Bears fans should give him a chance. And then he said, with the horror stories we've seen over the years with this franchise, being mad is a waste of energy. Disgust and exhaustion fit better. He said they signed Andy Dalton like he was the only available quarterback option they had. I doubt they ever considered trading for Darnold. Again, that front office is incompetent. He said the franchise has hung their hats too long on the 85 team. Chicago should feel embarrassed that we've allowed them to swindle generations of families with mediocre football.
Preach.
It's bad over here.
Bart, before you go,
and then he said, "How's the family?"
I have to say, I typically am and usually objective, and my playing mentality comes out sometimes when we talk about specific sports. But I hate to do this, but I am just so over Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy. Like I'm ready for them just to go somewhere, not in Chicago. Just go somewhere else and take some years off and relax. Like it was a knee-jerk reaction to sign Andy Dalton because of failed attempts on guys like Russell Wilson, or you're waiting to see what happened with Deshaun Watson. Knee-jerk reaction. And then, but to have the audacity to not double or triple, but quadruple down, essentially, on Andy Dalton to release press it like he's our guy, QB1. QB1. Really, QB1. And I'm sitting here looking at Sam Darnold, and as soon as we started this whole conversation, I'm like, why not Chicago, guys? For Sam Darnold. I know sometimes Chicago fans are like, oh, why would we want Sam Darnold? Or, Keyshawn was hard on keeping Mitch Trubisky, and which obviously makes sense if you're signing Andy Dalton, right? But I'm sitting there looking at Sam Darnold being like, okay, Sam Darnold now is going from Adam Gase to Joe Brady. You know how happy Sam Darnold is? Maybe I should actually just feel happy for Sam Darnold, that he's not going to the misery of Chicago with Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace. It's beyond me that a guy with so much young talent and Sam Darnold, and Bart, you and I know this, who you play with matters.
Yeah.
Who coaches you matters. Like, obviously, there's still a ton on the player, but my damn first year in the league, I played the triangle. Like, it's not a system built for point guards. I know fans don't like to hear the nuances, but when your playbook changes constantly over and over again, and you have a guy who says he's a brilliant mind, even though he's not a brilliant mind at all, I mean, it doesn't really set you up for success. It just, this is so above those guys. It's a Ted Phillips conversation because he kept those guys in power in Chicago.
Yeah.
And you can't think long-term when your job is on the line for this year. You're only thinking about right now. And that's the problem. Up above those guys haven't stepped in and said, no, this is what we're doing for the long-term health of this organization, and we're not going to allow you guys to make knee-jerk reactions only to save your job for this year.
So, listen, I'm telling you, Jay, and listen, I'm trying to walk you back from the cliff.
So please walk me back.
I'm trying to walk you back from the cliff. And, like, Teddy Bridgewater this year, his dead cap money, he signed a 3-year, $60 million deal, right? So it's roughly about $20 million a year. You can get Carolina, because Carolina is desperate now. Teddy Bridgewater's walking into the office like, what the hell are we doing, right? I'm not the quarterback. I need to find a location. I need a spot. Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have any more places to go. He can't go to San Francisco because they just moved up, right, to make sure that they take their future quarterback.
Why wouldn't you keep Teddy Bridgewater with Sam and make Sam a project? Because Sam hasn't proven anything yet. How do you know he's the guy for sure?
Sam's not a project. You don't bring in and say, hey, I'm going to have 2 guys. You picking up Sam's option. You got to make sure that Sam can play. You got to give him the opportunity to coach him up. You can't have Teddy Bridgewater sitting behind him so if Sam struggles, the fan base is saying, hey, put Teddy in because Teddy, listen, this team was close last year. They lost a lot of close games, right? And now they're going to have McCaffrey back, arguably the most complete offensive weapon in the game. Right. You talk about what he's able to do. He's every year, he's the closest thing to Marshall Faulk that I've seen. that can consistently be a 1,000 guy, and especially with the extra season, you can just bank that he's going to have 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing. You think about Robbie Anderson being able to stretch the field. You think about DJ Moore being able to run the whole route tree. You have to get Teddy Bridgewater out there. Teddy Bridgewater isn't there to compete. He knows when you trade for a 23-year-old quarterback that he's your short-term to maybe your intermediate-term quarterback. So Sam Darnold's their future. They're going to pick him up, and if they're going to pick up his option and say, hey, we're going to have him next year, he's going to start. You can say whatever you want.
$18.9 million.
Right, he's going to start. So you can, if you're Chicago, you're going to say, hey, I'll take Teddy Bridgewater off your hands.
Why don't you just keep Mitchell Trubisky?
No.
Why just not keep Mitchell Trubisky? I don't understand. Why are you doing
Let me tell you something. Mitchell Trubisky was a horrible quarterback. When I say horrible, he limited your playbook so much. One thing you know about Teddy Bridgewater isn't going to turn the ball over. He's a competitor. He's a leader.
So you're telling me if you're Matt Nagy or Ryan Pace, you're telling me that Teddy Bridgewater and Andy Dalton are going to save your career.
No,
that's what you're telling me.
I'm telling you that Teddy Bridgewater can come and elevate your offense. I'm telling you, Teddy Bridgewater, years removed from the knee injury, is confident enough to be able to make plays with his legs. I'm telling you that Teddy Bridgewater has now been able and is willing, much like Alex Smith was, to start pushing the ball down the field. You talk about he almost got Robbie Anderson. No, matter of fact, not almost. Robbie Anderson was over 1,000 yards receiving.
Yes, he was.
And they were connecting on deep balls. So I'm telling you, Teddy Bridgewater, if I'm Matt Nagy, if I'm Pace, I'm going to get Teddy Bridgewater. And guess what? I get to get Carolina to take some of the money off of his salary this year as well. So now, no, Teddy Bridgewater's coming in, and now because you're always concerned with Teddy Bridgewater's health, now you have Dalton as a good backup at a reasonable price at $10 million. I'm telling you, Chicago, if they're smart, can get Teddy Bridgewater, and Teddy Bridgewater is good enough to get that team with that talent, Tariq Cohen coming back,
so
Allen Robinson,
go from QB1 to QB2.
To QB2 to Wakanda for life, and they're going to get to the playoffs as a wild card. Write it down, Jay, if they do that.
All right.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.